One more week to go. So for a neurodivergent person like myself, having too many things going on in my life can be pretty overwhelming. There's this constant influx of sensory informations, the social interactions, the organisation, the tasks you have to manage. They lead, inevitably, to anxiety and higher stress. And it can make it difficult for me at this particular moment to focus and process information and maintain a sense of control of the whole thing. So everyday activities that might seem routine to me, all of a sudden they become a challenge. They can become hard effort. They, I have X amount of energy that I'm trying to spread out to too many things. What did Bilbo Baggins say? It was like having not enough butter stretched across the toast. So the pressure to keep up with all these multiple demands, it can impact and is impacting my mental and emotional well-being. I'm doing a lot of masking and I whistle a lot. I've just noticed when I'm stressed. I whistle. I don't know what that's all about. But it just makes it essential, I think, for all of us. What I'm trying to say is to find these sort of strategies and making sure you've got a good support system around you. Try to manage your environment as much as you can. Give yourself a break once in a while. I've noticed over this busy time how much I miss just having reflection time, just to sit quietly and just sit there and look at birds for a while. And I'm talking about flying birds, okay? And just all I want to do once this week's done and the event's done is just to go somewhere lovely and quiet and green and just sit there, just take it in. I can't wait. Oh, it's made me appreciate life organising this event. Anyway, let's move on with this episode. This is such a cool episode of two neurodivergent people just saying, you know what, bugger it, let's not plan, let's just talk and see what happens. And that's exactly what we did. I didn't know a great deal about Tismo at all, other than I literally just found a comment she put on Facebook somewhere. I can't even remember what it is. It was such a beautifully expressed comment that I had to get in touch and say, look, I loved what you said. I'd love to be able to chat with you longer, and I'd love you to come on the podcast. And and that this is what's happening just based on a single comment on a Facebook page somewhere. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking to that person. That person is Tismo Terrasson. Now, Granny Tismo, as she refers to herself as, and I suppose other people do as well, is a social justice advocate and disability consultant with a passion for shaking up the norms and causing a little mischief along the way. They bring lived experience, bold honesty, and a commitment to equity into every space they enter, challenging systems and creating room for voices often left unheard. And all of that with a knitted brain on top of their head. We'll hear more about that later. So, it's a long one, so let's get on with it. I hope you really enjoy the conversation, and I can't wait to have Tismo back again. Let's get to it! Okay, yeah, no, I was adamant that I was not, even though both my kids had been diagnosed. And then my wife and I started arguing over who's the one at fault, you know.
Genetic lineage.
Yep. I got a book and I started looking at the check boxes and stuff, and I was like, no. But then the more I'm watching the kids struggling in school and looking at the same parallels, I'm just like, oh my God, I think I need to go in and do this. Now, one of the other previous episodes with Kathy Isaacs, she's the first person I ever reached out to online to say, I think I might be, and she said, just go for it. Just, see what happens.
I think they work, yeah.
But I was 48.
48.
52 now. So, and then I got ADHD 2 years ago as well.
Yeah, right. I was late diagnosed as well. So I'm 56, and I think I was, around 50, 51. But I knew I was autistic. Well, I come from an intergenerational family of autistics. So my mum's diagnosed, my brothers, and my grandmother, who's not here anymore, was as autistic as F. Like, we laugh about how autistic she was, where we tell our tellings of the stories,
Right.
And the quirky habits, and don't touch certain things, wouldn't have fabrics, didn't eat 80% of anything, always arguing with people, about facts and figures,
Yep.
Truth.
It's funny, isn't it? Those sorts of things. And there's so many different elements to it when I try to look back at that as well. And, I think my grandmother on my dad's side was definitely, she used to make copious notes when she went on holidays of what she ate. I've got lists and stuff like that. And she loved to do funny poems. And, she was clearly not antisocial, but socially inept, all these sorts of things. She really struggled. But I didn't get to know her. I was only young when she passed, I think there's a lot of neurodivergence going on from both sides.
I think, hasn't the science caught up a little bit? We've just recently finished with a geneticist. So there's absolutely fascinating journey. Am I allowed to say people's names?
That's entirely up to you.
Oh, yeah. Well, Dr. Dr. Verma Canal, one of those ways, from Progenics. And he is the most trauma-informed, kindest man that you'll ever meet. Like, he's my latest Dr. Crush, But he's oh my gosh, the most passionate, compassionate person, and so intelligent, and completely rewriting the conversation medically about autism. And oh my gosh, and his wait list isn't so long. It costs a little bit, but it's actually way cheaper than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. My head exploded too. And he teaches you about all the things. Hello.
Yes, I'm doing a recording right now. And this is Henry. You can't hear. Do you want to say a quick hello?
No.
No. Okay.
Social stuff is boring.
I know.
I don't know where my bag.
You don't know where your bag is?
Yeah.
For what? What bag?
School bag.
School bag? Either look in the car or look near the front door, or look in your room underneath a whole lot of crap.
Do you know, we
close
use
the door.
Apple AirTags. We use Apple AirTags now.
Oh, that's a good idea too.
Just for important bags. Yeah. For the important ones, that you really shouldn't lose when you leave the house and that. Like, tech is our saviour. Your technology.
Oh my God, yeah. Yep.
So where were we? We were at Dr. Cornell, and he was talking about the autistic gene. Like, one of the conversations I think that's really missing a lot of the time when people are chatting and yarning is that they don't talk about the physiology of what it is like to experience autism. Everything is kind of more like everything's through the lens of behaviourism.
Yes, right.
Right. So if behaviour comes from the brain, why are people not saying, well, this person's brain is in sensory overload? They treat the person, it's like a personality defect, even though they try not to be like that. It's just kind of permeates, really, doesn't it?
Yep.
It's kind of, anyway, I hope I'm not too abstract.
No, well, I'm really interested in this sort of stuff. So you're talking about it sort of being the structure of the brain itself as well down to that
nervous
point?
system, we have a central nervous system difference. That's my understanding. The autistic central nervous system is not a neurotypical central nervous system.
Right.
So that means how we sensorily interact with the world, how we interpret the world through all the senses. Did you know there's in my day there was only 7 senses, but now there's 21 or something senses? Did you know? I didn't know. I was like, oh my God.
No.
Yeah. If you Google how many body sensors there are, there's there's 20 or 30 or something, and this list of sensory list just keeps growing, just like how the planets all changed.
I suppose so. That's true. That's true, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So they reframed the knowledge on that, which I think is really interesting. And I think that looking at the physical experience of being autistic and how our brain works so that we can actually be accepted, not just be treated as though we're behaving badly and a poor version of a neurotypical person.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, I
totally
feel that this is implied in society's culture just, like unconsciously. And we've just got to rework that, we've got to kind of maybe talk about that. So, so I was interested to know what kind of brain you had. Like, I'm autistic ADHD, I'm an Audi, definitely identify with the RSD and the rumination component.
This is your acronym support service. RSD is rejection sensitive dysphoria, which does lead to intense rumination or dwelling on past interactions and events and makes you overanalyze. I'm sure many of you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know I'm going to be ruminating on this interview for like a long time, and it's okay. It's part of the process, and it's like how we, I guess, integrate things. And when you, I don't know about you, but feeling like late diagnosed, I feel that that's a very triggering conversation for me because I feel like I was robbed.
Yes.
Of actually having an opportunity at life to reach my full potential, whatever that was. Do you feel that too?
Oh, my God, yes. I literally saw you posted by something on Facebook by Roxy Metamama, where it's talking. Sorry. It was talking about pushing through uncomfortable things. So that's sort of what we're talking about. And I found her little video was really interesting because she's talking about the fact that what we've had to do all our lives is kind of just push through and go ahead and do that thing that we find uncomfortable because that's what we've learned how to do. And then I've often talked about this from the perspective of looking at my kids and allowing them to have boundaries. But then there's another element to it where I'm feeling like, well, shit, what, that's not fair. Maybe you should suck it up like I had to, And so I have that horrible sort of duality of thinking this is a good thing for them, but also, they can't just go ahead and do stuff when they have to because they haven't got that skill set.
That's what worries me as well. So I think that's a really good question, and that's the question I think about a lot as well. So do we push our kids like the way we had to push ourselves because it's a survival skill? And or is there another way that we can teach to be independent and confident in the world and safe in the world? Safety is really important for autistic people. Yep. I don't know about you, but my son cannot talk to police. And he's, my 26-year-old and 17-year-old, and both ASD3, and I think I'm ASD3, but I'm not going to ever indicate that because there's too much stigma, yes. I can't even, especially I feel that's a very gendered stigma. I don't want to raise question, but I would want to park that conversation for people who maybe know more about that topic than I do. But I've experienced that personally quite a lot. Being 56, and I obviously look like a grandmother. Someone said to me it was the invisible middle-aged woman syndrome. Plus, I'm autistic, and a part of my flavour is that I have disordered communication. I think I have definitely got SLDs.
This is your acronym support service. SLD, or Specific Learning Disability, refers to difficulties using language, both spoken and written, and it can impact a person's ability to learn and communicate effectively. End of message.
But I think I've got DLD, which is my brain just struggles to comprehend language, but I'm hyperlexic. So I'm like a dyslexic hyperlexic.
Tell me more about that.
You know hyperlexia?
No.
I feel like I wanted to ask if you knew that word.
I keep finding all these new ones.
I know, isn't it wonderful? I love the discovery because it helps us understand our brains and how we relate to the world. And
I understand. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
unusual advanced ability to read words often before the age of 5, but then struggles with comprehension and other language skills. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, and they're good, like just good at, but also really good at languaging as well. And I think obviously everything is a spectrum. We have to get out of this real binary bookend thinking of either or, yes or no, this or that, because I think that's really problematic, and then it sort of cookie cutters people, and we don't see the individual in front of us, and then we don't know how to interact and support that person. We can't just take people as they show up because we've got all these preconceived ideas of what things are. So I think language does matter while society's evolving.
Yep.
I just want to park that there. It's taken me a long time to understand that, how important it is to really, learn about how people are trying to understand aspects of autism or science, and there's so many wonderful opinions out there, and it's really progressive what's going on. It's actually a very exciting space.
It is. There's a lot of shitty ideas out there too.
Research paper, can I tell you one research paper that I found, which I lost again because that's what happens, but I do have it somewhere. So there's this autistic researchers PhD group, right, on Facebook, and they're all these really like genius level researchers, and it's like a real honour to be let in there if you don't have a really high IQ, like above whatever 200, And anyway, so I love watching them chatter. And it's really interesting. And there's this research paper coming out that's trying to prove that autistics have been around since the time of the Neanderthals, and they've found some sort of linking between, like, they reckon autistic people are like Neanderthal from the Neanderthals. Is it Neanderthals? Neanderthals. They were the builders.
Neanderthal,
they're creators. They were the crafters, the creators, the builders. They were the engineers. They weren't like Homo sapiens or the Denisovians or whatever they were called. I can't do the names. Can't do the names. I know. So I know. So there's a school of thought that's actually saying autism, neurodiversity has always been here, and we saw it through the original different species of humans as we were evolving. And that Homo sapiens took over, which equates Homo sapien to neurotypical.
What they are, or?
Well, I think that's what the discussion is.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. I'm not an academic. Can I park that hashtag? Never will be. Don't want to be. But I think it's really interesting. So if we came from the Neanderthals, if our neurodiversity, we've just learned to fit in, just like the way cats domesticated the humans, and they just move in and they mask until you love them, and then you bond. We fit it into the herd, and that's kind of also what it's like a survival that this research paper talks about. So I'll find it when
you have to find it.
I will when I find it. I'll send it to you. And I just think that's interesting because everybody keeps talking like we can be cured, and you know what I mean. Like, I'm like, well, if we've been here all along, then that's a moot point, really.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that was the point of that little ramble.
Certain foods, you can have go on a certain diet, and that'll change your neurotype to something else.
It'll fix you. Yeah, I don't want to fix my brain. I love my brain. See, I love my brain.
Well, there's nothing to fix. Yeah,
there's nothing to fix. It's just a different operating system, isn't it?
Yeah. It just is what it is. Oh, that Neanderthal. I'm going to be thinking about that because I'm sure
you would.
When I've been watching stuff on Neanderthals, it's usually they talk about that they were unable to cope with change. And that's why they disappeared, because they weren't able to deal and be flexible enough to deal with new environments and new weather and all this sort of stuff.
That sounds a bit Tismo, doesn't it?
Oh, dear.
Restricted, a little bit restricted, don't like change.
Yeah, that's right.
Didn't want to do the social stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm not putting my furry coat on.
Over there.
No.
No, I'm not eating that food. I kind of laugh when I hear things like that. And I'm like, I'm not that we can ever evidence that, but I think it's a really good conversation. How long has neurodiversity been here? I mean, there's evidence from the 1700s up, I think.
Yes.
I think, that would be about it. But
I think it must go much, much, much further back, right back to other apes, because I just think that I believe that we were the innovators throughout history.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And that brought about change, and because we just often think out of the box and just view things in a different way, which can be like quite illuminating for others, But it's also be hard because I don't think a lot of us are good leaders necessarily as well, which makes it a bit difficult. I'd love to get into politics to add that element, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I could not cope with the BS that they go through, that they have to. Yeah, I've stopped watching news and listening to politicians talk. I'm sick of it because they're not saying anything.
No, they're not. Yeah, we do need good leaders, and we do need autistic leaders, neurodiverse leaders in there. We do, but there are a lot of neurodiverse people in government and within advisory bodies.
Yes,
and within the scientific community and the research community, and they're making changes.
Well, they're being ignored. at the moment.
Well, they're not the
particularly
public
now.
face.
Yeah.
They're not the public face, but
Yeah.
they're, well, I mean, I don't want to say that hashtag blanket, but it's as an umbrella, because we don't know, people don't always disclose, because why would you? Because, the next question, if a poly came out and said, oh, I'm neurodiverse, I'm an Audi, they'd be like, oh, you want NDIS? Like it would just go down,
I can't trust them.
Not a conversation you want to have, because society is just so ableist, and we're not progressively a wholesome society yet.
No, absolutely not. And being atheist as well that's also a late change that I went through when my daughter was born. I started to look up genetics and that sort of stuff, and a friend who I used to care for, because I used to work in disabilities. He helped me as well see things a little differently to what I was, the whole spiritual side of things. But coming out as being autistic, or coming out as being an atheist, can be very, very difficult for a lot of people, and sometimes it's not a good idea to do that.
True. Absolutely.
Have you told all your family? Is that something you've openly discussed?
Obviously immediate family. I'm pretty open now, because I just got to an age where I just don't care what people think of me anymore. And, whatever. And I just tell people, because my brain, I'm in burnout, so I can't mask anymore. So that's what broke for me. My Babel fish broke.
Right.
And I can't translate neurotypicality anymore.
Okay.
And I think that the discussion about cognitive, like they say, autistic burnout, I think that's a very dangerous umbrella term, because what I learned through being in sustained burnout for a decade or more, actually most of my life, to be quite honest, being undiagnosed, right? Yeah. One traumatic situation after another. Yep. And never understanding how you get into situations all the time, And it's that you can have a cognitive decline. And that's why I sent you that link this morning. There's that guy on TikTok, and he talks about neuropruning.
I love that.
It makes so much sense that our brains do that. And he talks about skill regression, and what happens to me is I lose my ability to read and write and process information completely.
As a burnout.
As a burnout.
Right.
And if you keep in that state, you can actually have a cognitive decline.
True.
That's and no one talks about that. We need to protect our brains. So when we're getting our kids to just trooper on through school, right? Okay, we know the Coke bottle effect, that they, explode when they come home because they're absolutely cognitively burnt out.
Done everything
they're socially burned out. Their central nervous system is absolutely fried. Yep. And then, obviously homework is not a good idea on top of that, because they need to come home and just,
absolutely
do what they need to do to get their CNS back in balance before the next morning, which is not a lot of time.
Yep. And
then they have to start the process again. And I always question how much learning is going on when you're just trying to get through the day, it's what are we actually teaching our kids?
We teach them, we try to get them to teach him, and both of them, or mostly my son now, because my daughter's 17, she's doing very well, to teach him important stuff early in the day, knowing that it's eventually he's going to run out of the juice, to be able to keep that up, unless it's something he's into. My son, which you're coming to the event, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah,
I'm bringing people too.
Oh, good. That's great.
I'm bringing a really cool person, Thomas Banks. Do you know him?
I recognise the name.
He made a video. He's made a video about sex positivity. It's called Quest for Love. It was on Netflix, I think, or Stan for a while.
Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring Tom. So
awesome.
I'm organising to. I think he can. Yeah, I'll organise to make sure he gets home safely and stuff and bring. Yeah, so we got him a ticket. He really wants to come.
That's
great. He's really looking forward to meeting everyone in the community. And have you seen any of his shows?
No.
Oh my gosh, he's so funny. oh my God, he tells this really inappropriate joke about the disability toilets. It's just fantastic. He's so funny. Like, and he's just crosses the line so badly.
We were chatting on this about comedians and so forth, you know, and I love those sorts of the black humor, the weird stuff, like the awkward silences, you know, that sort of stuff. I just find so fun and so funny.
Am I allowed to tell his joke?
Yeah, of course.
So he was explaining, you know, how they supervise everyone in the disability toilets now, and it's like this big thing out there in the world. And he was just telling this joke about how he got busted in the disability toilets because, like, everyone's having sex in them apparently. And that's sort of one of the main reasons that they're now putting the keys on them, and you've got to buy the MLAT keys. Have you heard of that?
Yeah. I've seen them.
So you know, it's because people are having fun in the disability toilets, and he tells his joke about how he got busted having sex in the disability toilet, and then the guy's questioning him and everything, and then he goes, it's fine, he's my support worker.
That's completely legitimate then. Yeah.
He cracks me up. The whole floor was just some total fits of laughter. You know, like he's a good egg. I think that's
it's
saying.
Okay. Don't worry, it's okay. It's my support worker. It's fine. Oh my God!
That's terrible, Muriel. Yes, yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. Good on you for organising it. That must have been a big effort.
And it still is. And the only thing that brings anxiety to me is the making sure I get the full numbers in. I just really want to make sure it's reaching as many people as possible who haven't heard about it, and so I'm trying my best, and I'm trying to get those stall holders because they've got their big stakeholder lists and that sort of stuff. But I'm just telling everyone, please spread it, and just don't do it once, spread it a few times to reach these people who could really bloody use it, particularly adults. You know, there've been nothing for us, and
I know.
They offered me to do like a live podcast, but I thought, well, God, no one knows my podcast, you know? I mean, I make a whopping 75 cents from putting ads on there, you know, every month. And it's just like I've got more people listening in UK than in Australia, you know.
Yeah, UK's pretty cool.
So I just thought let's do something a bit more useful, you know, with the time, and I can record it as a podcast as well. Now, I wanted to quickly go back to something we were talking about, which was about the neural pathways based on that. You sent me that this morning, and it's so funny how when you latch on, I know I do, I latch onto a thought, an idea, doesn't last very long necessarily. I'll just flit around to, you know, I've not got that sort of useful brain that will just focus in on one thing and get really, really bloody good at it. I hate doing that. I flit. And so I'm flitting through that one, which I have flut before, and there was a comment on the private page, on the Party Peepers page, where someone was talking about starting a new job, and he's been doing handover and training for those people who are going to be taking over his work, and then he's moving on to do a job that he really is looking forward to doing. And he's like, he wants some tips for defragging my brain to clean up the redundant information that was specific to my job to make room for all the new things I'll be learning. And I immediately went to that article and thought about that article. So you tell me if my comment is complete bullshit or whether you think I'm onto something, okay? I said, I'm not sure you need to really worry about it. Your new job will facilitate new neural pathways which will get stronger, while the pathways associated to your previous work will slowly weaken. And once you finish your handover, I think you'll be too engaged in doing something you actively want to do now with your time. And do you think that's the sort of thing that would happen?
Yeah, okay. So I've been caught up by that, and I've seen autistic people be caught up. Like, it's like we learn, this is like that, like in the DSM, 5, if you look up autism, I think it's about page 50, they have the descriptors, okay? So in that they talk about what are the primary features of autism. And they talk about rigidity is one of the primary features. Everyone focuses on sensory processing, but what does that, that's
what
right. Everyone makes that face that you just made. However, if you actually think about it and look at your life with deep reflective processes, where are you rigid? And it's not like the rigidity of lining up cars or, it's how you approach tasks.
Oh, okay.
How you approach things that you can see the rigidity.
Oh my
so
God,
that guy's going, that's what he's saying. I've always approached the photocopier and photocopying in this way. Yeah. I'm going into a new photocopy room. The photocopier might be backwards. So it's going to, if you think about, like again, I'm not an academic on this, but to my understanding, if you think I think a lot of people use their visual cortex, and for me, I see tasks as like a memory. It's like a memory string, and your brain pulls on it, and then says, "This is what you did the last time." But you don't, if you can't always overlay that set of instructions to a new environment, and this is the problem. So that's the rigidity, because you can't shift your focus. You can't necessarily quickly. It's that adaptability. Is that it's the rigidity is in the adaptability or lack of or challenge with.
Wow.
And I found that was really interesting, because you'll see that with neurodiverse people quite a lot. And that they get there and they just got to do their own way, work their brain out in their own way, do what you got to do. But so I would be saying to that chap that can he get online and have a look at the office space? Can he visually see it? Is it a big company where they have a virtual tour of the office? Is there any way he can see where he's going to be working, and work out where he's parking, have a look on Google Maps, do the street view, get a real physical sense of that environment, make sure he knows the lighting and the routine, how he's going to navigate the place, set up new routines straight away.
This is so interesting, because you know what probably you have in the past done, and I would do, is I would just suck it up and show up.
Yeah.
And that is such a better way of going about doing things. But I would just go and just do it and see what happens.
I can't do that anymore, because
you've gone mute all of a sudden.
Bugger. Your lips are moving. I can't hear what you're saying. Let me figure out what's going on here.
I got audio problems, Tismo. I got phony catastrophe. You hear me, but I can't hear you now. I'm alone in a static sea. Have you muted yourself now, Tismo? Do I need you to call IT? Life is silent inside my headphones. Waves gone flat in a static sea. Hello, what's this called? Laying under my chair like this. Oh God, it was me. And I'm staring excessively.
You just... Oh, hang on.
Hello, now?
Oh my God, it was me.
Oh, well, I already knew that. So
I pulled the microphone out at the bottom of my foot.
Were you fidgeting? Were you doing ADHD fidget?
I do it with my feet and my toes, because then I got away with it. No one would know that I was doing it. So I'm still doing that. I fidgeted till I pulled out the cord.
Oh my gosh, that's good news.
So what were we saying?
So where are we up to? Because we're having some really good conversation.
So you were providing advice regarding what to do for his new job and so forth, and that's a really good idea. But we also spoke earlier as well about the fact that sometimes it's not a good idea to divulge, and that's a question a lot of people come up with as well. I went and did an interview, not really that interested in doing the job, but I thought I'm going to put myself through an interview where I actually tell them, and it was a very interesting experience. And I could see their faces change when I started talking about it. And I thought, well, I'm probably never going to do that again now, unless I know where I'm going to already has a bunch of neurodivergent people there. I probably won't ever divulge that. I'll wait. And I've been advising other people to do that as well. Wait till you get in there and then talk about it.
I agree with that. There's always that saying of idealism and philosophy versus reality and resources, we're not. I love the ideology in the neuroaffirming movement. I think it's doing wonderful things, and that's definitely where we need to be heading. But then there's the survival every single day. You need to get a job. You need to find, pay your bills. You need to provide for families, and you've got to do your things. And I don't know about you, but for me, I've always found it very difficult to have access to mainstream services that's like gummy talk, reception desks are the other frontier for me. They're my enemies.
Right. Okay. In what way?
Yeah, I think, part of my autistic flavour is actually I have periods of non-verbality. Yep. And I really love that space. It just opens up a different way. We communicate non-verbally as a family, as a very supportive autistic family with each other. Yep. And so when I'm forced to talk, I can't regulate my communication. So I have this, I have an autistic monotone voice, and I'll be like, hi, excuse me, can I please make an appointment? And then they say, stop using your legal tone of voice at me. And I'll be like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Can I just make an appointment, please? Wow. I bang up, you're being so rude, boing, and I'm out. And then I have to make up voices and pretend to be someone else to get the appointment, or get someone else to make the appointment, because the receptionist won't talk to me ever again. Yep. But I'm not talking about for a week. I'm talking about forever. And they've got memories like elephants, and they remember, so I can't often get past the reception desk. Okay. And
are you sort of trying to, are you trying to enter these situations unmasked as often as possible?
No, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just trying to make an appointment. But I can't.
But see, I've got a good script. I've got a good face. I change my face. I change my voice, and I put on that character in that situation
I used to do that. I can't do that anymore.
That's what I'm saying. It is unmasked.
My babelfish is broken.
Yeah.
All right, do it. I can do it. And then they start talking neurotypical, and I'm like, oh my God, and I don't know what they're saying. And then I'm standing there, and then I respond awkwardly, inappropriately. I miss the social cues. I miss the implied messaging, or they ask me to do things that I just can't do, like jump through 50 hoops to do one thing. And my brain's like, why do I have to do those? Can't I just give you that? Why do I have to fill in 20 forms? Can't I just give you my card? And,
that's all internal in me. That's all internalized for me. I don't actually, communicate it. I just pretend I know what they're talking about.
I feel like that's risky, because I've gotten myself in trouble before by doing that too. And there was one time when at the reception desk, and when Hayley, my teen, was little, and the receptionist is going on and on and on, and I think I literally started to sweat, beads of sweat. And then Hayley's tugging at me and saying, Mum, I think she's giving you instructions. And I said, instructions? As I'm looking down at them, are there instructions? What are they? Tell me, quick, what are they? And we all huddled together like an autistic family, trying to, what did she say? What did she mean? What does she want us to do?
I'm picturing you all huddled together, and then all of a sudden, doing some turnaround, looking back at them for once in a while, sort of like.
Yeah. 100% Life of Brian, I can tell you right now. 100%. That's what I call autistic slapstick, So, but it can get in the way. And the other part of the problem, for me, this is how my brain is now changed, is my literalism. I can't talk. I'm so literal. I still can write poetry and read poetry and be creative. I think people don't understand you can be literal as well as very flexible in your thinking. Literal doesn't mean rigid. And I think that might be good to separate those two ideas. But literal. So, and I understand about imposing imagination. when people say, what's this? As they bump a pencil up and down, and everyone says, oh, that's a train. And I know that's the response, because I've learned that it's the response. But my brain says, no, that's a pencil with a person going choo-oo. And I'm like, okay. That's it.
That's interesting. So I go to the absurd. So when you did that, I thought of a chew bar, the choo-choo bars in the old
bars,
lollies.
Yes, chew bar.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So, I'm still not quite understanding.
That's memory association. That's what this guy in that link is talking about, how we Our brain learns by association.
Yes.
Have you seen that new app called Obsidian? Have you seen how it does its menu? So this is it's like, there's that, stimming. This is one of my favourite topics of conversation. Stim alert, passion interest is that neural networking. They're developing computers that mimic the neural pathways of the human brain. And that's the new model coming out that we're working towards. It's been a tech jump. Oh, my God, it's so exciting. And when you look at the Obsidian map, I'm just giving you an association. There's much more. You can deep dive on the internet.
Yep.
It's a spherical menu. It's none of this linear tabs on the left-hand side and up the top like a book. Yeah. And you can link the folders in a way that makes sense to your brain and your learning associations.
Okay.
So you organically, instantaneously can find all your documents because you map it to reflect your brain spherically. Yeah, I think it's brilliant.
It would be good if they can include other senses at some point as well, because obviously the memory and those sort of things are all those associations. If you're using multiple senses, apparently I think it's even a stronger attachment that you can actually set up.
The first thing I thought of when you said that was, I don't know how they're going to do that. It's digital. But then I thought, well, it could be like the Scratchathon. Do you remember that movie Divine? And they had the Scratchathon. I went to one of them. That's how old I am. And then you sniff it when it flashes the number on the screen.
We've got. I've spoken to Rini, who's the owner of this company, Wilderness Labs, where she makes these sort of like perfumes, which are like in a bar as well.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful. She's
Sniffy.
amazing.
Oh, you've got sniffies.
Oh, and that's what we were talking about. She should do scratch and sniff stuff, and you should be able to do that. You should be able to, as you're going on an app, have a little,
I don't know how they would do that, but holographic technology is next, I think.
Holographic technology, but I guess if you're wanting to learn, if you're having to learn things, maybe it's something you can do despite the app, but separately by if you want to learn something.
Engaging senses works.
Yeah, I want to learn something like this, vanilla. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And that sort of thing works a treat.
I feel like it works.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And visual as well. I've heard about, there's a book I read called How to Think Like Sherlock Holmes, where if they're trying to recall memories and information, it's like his library, where you walk up, visualize walking up a stairway, and there's a library of various levels, and you walk over a certain, pull out a book, and that's a piece of information that you've stored. There's the totem way of learning things as well. There's a whole lot of different options, which is wonderful. I wish I'd known this stuff when I was failing so badly at school.
There's a saying that we need explicit, precise, direct, and declarative. I can't say that word. If anyone wants to volunteer, go with a part of. I get like verbal apraxia, so you have to forgive that. Declarative language, and I find that for me gives me a framework of understanding where I don't actually have to work really hard to work out what's going on. And I say to people, my brain works like an instruction manual. # not an IKEA one.
Yeah,
right? We're all standing around looking at the thing, scratching their heads in the pictures. No. But I need, I just need explicit and direct. And I find that is missing from the education system. And it's missing, I know it's missing from the university that I'm at. And I've burnt my visual cortex out on week 3 over a 200-word paragraph that has to be handed in because the information and the instructions were over 6 different tabs. Embedded in story, conversation, narrative style, neurotypical narrative style, neurotypical grammar. Hey, can I ask you a question? Do you think that I think this is something because I can't do grammar. I write literally and I use incomplete sentence structures to communicate what I mean. So part of the language disorder is that I don't put the subject of the sentence in the correct place.
Yes. Yep.
And I do that when I'm speaking. I kind of mind map talking, and I also do that when I'm writing. And that's not good because that means I can't pass my uni assignments because I don't comply with the grammar rules on the rubrics, and I don't comply with the neurotypical social conventions in the grammar.
Yes, yeah.
Do you agree with
it's
that?
Interesting. I love
neurotypical
writing.
Is the grammar and that neurotypical that's what they're the same thing.
I find the structure. I found the structure, and I still do structurally difficult to understand. I never make sure I fit into the structure they're requiring. So as an example, I'm very good with English. I'm very good. I read a lot and I like to write, and but I did terribly in English because I wasn't following the proper structure that they were requiring, and I found their instructions terrible, which is why I'm so bloody good at writing up processes and how-tos and so forth at work. You know, and I was a good test analyst because I was writing tests that you could walk off the street and perform that task without knowing. And so that sort of stuff is where I just seem to shine.
That's your superpower.
And it drives me insane, bad instructions.
No, it's a form of torture, isn't it? You know, it's like a crooked picture on the wall. You know?
Oh, yeah. And I've got into my crotchety old man mode. I've gone into, dear sir, madam, your instructions were shocking, you know.
I know well, you've got to tell them because you've got this information and, you know, and I think there's this thing that autistic people do where we just want to improve stuff. Absolutely. And, you know, and like that we've got that strong social justice gene. I think that's also what gives us our strengths because and how we make the world a better place because we fix things as we find them broken. And I think our brains have always got better ways of presenting information. And I feel like the big thing that I'm starting to learn about is that I really do. I feel like I'm not allowed to talk about it. This is a forbidden subject. I think is that neurotypical people are their own thing. Like they're their own people.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like I feel connected to neurodivergent people, and I feel a sense of belonging automatically. Like even if it's awkward and whatever, we just seem to take it in our strides, right? Yeah. And we don't prescribe necessarily to the social stuff or worry about it so much. Yeah. But neurotypical people, like we actually made a choice to not have any neurotypical people in our life. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just being really honest. Yes. Yep. And I wanted to know if I feel like a bad person by saying
we've done
that.
The same.
Oh, my God.
No, we've done exactly the same, particularly neurotypical parents through schooling. We've given up ever having any form of good communication, friendship, that sort of stuff with any neurotypical parents. Pointless, waste of time.
Yeah, okay.
And so, we certainly do that. And we've also done that within socially, like I have X amount of friends, not many, but they're all neurosparkly. They're all like that, you know. So I've always been that way. But I'm less wanting to do that unless I play it like a game. Sometimes I will enjoy to play small talk.
Okay.
You know, and just put on that small talk act and see how far I can go with it. And it never ends. They can pick up with small talk and nothing's been said.
Nothing gets said.
It's fascinating. So I treat them like they're my little scientific experiments. It's wonderful.
So there's a lady in the on podcast who has a podcast called Ramblings. Have you heard of it?
No, Ramblings.
And it's a lovely English lady, and she's really socially intelligent. And it's just an entire podcast of small talk as she walks through on a walk through England or wherever. And look at that rock over there, and hello there, and she talks to people, and it's actually really interesting. And our postie listens to it as he's walking up and down the street, listens to the ramblings, they're called. And when you're talking about how small talk goes on and on and on, you've got to listen to this podcast. It's really quite interesting. I think the lady's name's Jean. Yeah. She's actually quite good at it, so has a soothing kind of thing going on. But when you're actually having to interact with that yourself, it's extremely stressful because it just doesn't feel authentic, really. I don't know about you, but I just am a very bad actor. I can't act anymore.
Oh no, I'm good. Are you good? One of my old bosses said you possibly one of the best actors I've ever met.
How cool
when I started to explain, and I've mentioned this a lot during the podcast, but it's always good to bring it up again. Is the director says cut face, which is the big thing that I learned about how I'm interacting with people and interacting with neurotypicals.
Oh yeah.
So I'll do it now. Okay, so you're a neurotypical.
Teach me, master.
Yep.
Mr. Presley, Miss Juliet Prowse, and dance couples in GI Blues dance sequence. Stand by. This is the final scene, so let's make this one count. And action.
And so the face will come up, the big smile, the eyes wide, the interested, and I'll just, I'll be laughing and I'll be, and I'll be really animated and lots of energy and that sort of stuff. And, I'll be on Teams calls talking to the people and, and then I'll say, that was really good. I had such a fantastic conversation. Anyway, got to get going. See you later. And here comes the director's said cut face. See you later. Bye.
And cut.
And my face immediately drops because the director said, okay, cut. And I realised.
Autistic flat face.
Yeah. Yeah. And I realised,
I love that face.
That's my face.
And it's where we feel rested.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly.
Yeah, I know. But there are other ways to interact socially with people, like body language, micro body language.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always have to be their way, kind of thing. So yes, no more neurotypicals around us, and we're actually a lot more happier.
Yes,
and calmer, and all our support team is all neurodiverse and people living with disabilities. We had one support coordinator say to us, should you think about maybe having a neurotypical person on your team? Because we were a little bit ineffectual. Like, she could see, she's like, oh, maybe not a lot of stuff's getting done. But we're all really happy.
Well, that's right. Useful.
Just hanging out and doing stuff the way we want to do things, don't want to have someone in person or I'm going to mop the floor now, everyone just leave the room, we just work around and talk and say, oh my God, you see them, we're just the way we are. We kind of connect.
That's what Different Journeys does. So the Different Journeys will be one of the stalls that's going to be there at the event, and we've spoken to Mel before, and that's what they're like because they're all neurodivergent there. And so, they just go about and do things the way that they naturally want to do without having to put on airs or do any of that sort of stuff. It's awesome. That. But most of us aren't in that situation. Like for myself, I'm very open at work about all this and this journey, and I talk about it, and I get to work 4 days a week at home, which has been fantastic. It was a bit of work to get that to happen, but also the more conversations I have with people, I think, and I tell them what my preferred style of communication is and learning and taking on information, everyone's happy. You know what I mean? Because it just means there's less stress for everyone concerned. So the more often we can be a little bit more open about how we would prefer things to be, the better it's going to be. But
there's always buts. But when people trust and they see that you're still performing and the work is getting done, or and the results are better, because the results will be better because you're not stressed and you're conserving your brain and everything. So I think it's good. But they're just on that. Like I think it's good to remind everyone that there is no legal obligation to disclose disability in Australia, but there is a consideration if that in different industry sectors, often seen in employment contracts and OH&S requirements, which the overlapping bodies of legislation to the Disability Acts and Discrimination Acts, which if you do have a disability that could put your work in danger,
specifically,
then you need to disclose.
Yes.
So, or I think it's not the kind of thing that is policed, but if something happens and then they find out you didn't disclose a disability, then
that's not good.
Bit problematic. And I think we also need to understand all the root concerns about that, because that's tricky, because it doesn't mean because you're autistic that this problem happened necessarily. And but there will be that automatic assumption because it wasn't disclosed. That's, to my understanding, in the apprenticeship sector, a lot of apprentices don't want to disclose neurodiversity for those exact reasons. Like, you're too dangerous to have on their website. A lot of ADHD people, like, they're now asking if you've got ADHD when you sign up an apprenticeship. Yeah, specifically ADHD.
Are they allowed to be asking that?
Ooh, well, there's no legal obligation to disclose, so it's a good faith gesture of disclosure. I think that's how they get away with it in the contract. Say, oh no, we just want to put in more support. Yeah, sure. Well, we never experienced that, but just, thanks for saying so. But it's really, I think, they want to keep an eye on you, make sure you are. They vet you more when you're going through your apprenticeship, to make sure you are not misunderstanding instructions. And look, it is a real thing. My son went through an electrical apprenticeship, and his ADHD did muck things up a bit,
Right.
here and there. But if you learn to work with your brain, you can work in any of these sectors. And if you have a supportive environment, then I think if we think about the social model of disability in these circumstances, we get everyone upskilled, and it's not a problem.
Yep.
It's just it's not a safe world fully for everyone. I think people are trying to make it that way. I'm just a jaded old tart, so don't listen to me. No, it's not how I thought it was in my day. In my day, you could walk up the street, you were just known as quirky.
My previous CEO called me quirky.
Yeah, quirky.
I was kind of annoyed, actually.
Yeah, it should be in the DSM, original diagnosis for autism. How quirky features.
You mentioned when we were messaging that you were using talk to text, and I was fascinated. I love plays on words and mixing words together in interesting ways. And so when you did that, there was a section where you said, if we're talking about reading and writing, grammar is based on neuro-oil social culture. And my mind just went so many places. I love that, neuro-oil social culture.
I know.
What's neuro-oil?
My voice to text isn't very spiteful, and we're having an argument at the moment, and it doesn't like me, so it doesn't translate anything I say correctly. So it's just you spend more time fixing it. Please, someone out there, evolve voice to text. And because I get clipped speech and I can jumble the syllables and the words, that when I get that all the verbal apraxia thing going on, it is just I know. Oh no, it's so embarrassing. What did I say? What was the whoopsie? And it's fine when you type it or you talk it and fix it, and then when you send it, it changes in the sending. So if you know why that is, oh my God, I figured it out. So if you do voice to text, you have your microphone on. Yes. You've got to turn your microphone off before you text. If you text while your microphone's still on, the microphone decides the translation of the words, and it changes it to what it thinks it needs to be. Of course, so you've got to actually turn it off. You've got to click it off your phone.
Wow.
And that gives you a better, more accurate. I know, but it's really difficult to do because you're like pressing buttons all the time. It's just easier just to say what you've got to say. But when you turn the microphone off on your phone, and you just go blah 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 blah, turn it off, text X, right?
Well, I'm hearing like a product that we could be bringing out called Neuro Oil, which would be really interesting.
Yeah, that sounds straight.
It's to get rid of the autism. You just apply a bit of neuro oil?
Before we go, I just wanted to say, that's one of the things that I find really funny, and I wanted to do comedy skits on TikTok about it, is that often when I'm at a reception desk and communication is breaking down like it does every single time, then I say to them, I'm autistic, I'm late diagnosed. And then they just look at me and they said, so I never got therapy. And they said, and they all do this. Got it. Therapy didn't work. You're not fixed because you didn't get therapy. Right? Every time you try it. Yeah. Everyone is like, got it now. Right? I know.
And then you'll get the face like,
yeah.
The heads to the side and like, you poor wee thing. Start talking a little bit more like you're,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Puppy dog TY eyes. So can I have my appointment now, please?
Would you please?
Please, I really need to make an appointment. It's been an hour and a half and I still need my appointment.
Yeah.
I just want to get on the phone in like 4 seconds.
Oh, man.
It's funny. But anyway, look, it's been really good to meet you. And
you too, yeah.
You have a bit of a yak,
I know.
A bit of a chin wag.
That's it, and it's fun. I've been wanting to do more of these sorts of conversations where we could just off you go,
Yeah.
Because the people who are listening also like that. as well. You know what I mean? It's just
I really loved your phone call with your friend when you were talking about going to the place when the shirt was too tight. Oh my gosh, that was a great telling. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in that space every second of the day.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. That was such a great description. That was such a great description. I think you should just isolate that for people to listen to that. And because that I think is a beautiful story and so funny and very relatable. And, those days when clothing just does not work,
That's the worst.
We've all had those. Or you can feel the seams in your socks in the wrong spot, and then nothing goes well for the rest of the day. It's just.
I'm going to be interviewing a burlesque dancer.
Oh, fantastic!
And who's also neurodivergent, and so I can't wait to talk to her about body confidence and this sort of stuff.
Burlesque is amazing.
Yeah,
love burlesque.
But I can't get my head around how the hell
they're confident.
Yeah. Just can't get my head around it. So it's going to be a fun conversation, I think.
It's going to be a courageous one, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's been a tough thing to talk about. Very tough, because I never talked about it in the past. But now this is why I like doing this. Get to talk about stuff that I normally wouldn't, and it's not easy, but I think it's worth it.
Definitely. I was wondering if you did any podcasts on like sex positive and disability sex.
Not yet. Yeah. But yeah, there's so many different things. it's endless. The sort of directions.
Sure. It's a courageous conversation though, and I think, but I think it's an important one because we've got a role model that it's okay, especially for our young ones, and
absolutely,
I know it can be taboo, but
the vulnerability of neurodivergent people are just, particularly women and girls, are just frightening. So no, I'm happy to talk with my kids about this stuff.
Yeah, and reading people and whether you can or not, and not getting manipulated or tricked. I feel like I get manipulated and tricked. And
I've got a good one for you. I've got a good one. Try this out. Okay. Next time you're not sure what you're having a conversation with someone and you're not getting it. Mm-hmm. Say to them, I'm sorry. I must apologize. I'm not sure what your face is saying right now. And I want to keep doing that. I want to keep trying that with people. I'm sorry, I'm not sure. What's your face saying right now? Because you don't know if they're being sarcastic. You don't know if they're what's going on. If you're completely confused, ask them, what's your face saying?
Oh my gosh. I feel like that's really obscure and would take a lot of courage, but I'm up for it. I'll do it. I'm sorry. I'm really not sure what your face is saying right now.
Yep.
What happens then? I'm writing it down.
That's exactly what happens.
Do they repeat themselves or do they stop and think?
They'll have to, because it's such a strange question to ask neurotypical people, because what do you think it is saying? I mean, really? Do I have to spell this out? Yes, you do. That's my point.
Implied. It's implied. I don't need them. I really admire anyone who can understand implied communication. Yeah. I do not communicate in implied ways. Mm-hmm. I attempt it, but one of the things I've noticed about neurotypicals is they process implied. So even if you tell them, say, I'm very literal. So if I say there's a chair and a table, I'm not implying anything else. There's a chair and a table. And they will extract an invisible meaning from that. Mm-hmm. And I find that very difficult, interesting. I want to understand what that is, but it's also very dangerous. Like you can get misdiagnosed with that kind of thing. That's happened to us, and also the literalism. You can cut this short, but I've got to tell you one quick thing, right? Which is when Haley has autistic restricted feeding, disordered feeding disability, not eating, feeding, and it's not ARFID, not anorexia. It's actually autistic restricted feeding. Yep. And it's so severe they're in and out of hospital a lot. And a lot of people call all these other diagnoses, but the treatment plans don't work generally if it's autistic driven. And Michael Hand's in this space about to start talking about it online by the end of the year. So he's a dietitian. And it's about time because so we're in and out of hospital on the tubes and stuff. And one time in the hospital, they don't terrible at the Monash Children's Hospital in the adolescent ward towards autistic people generally as a rule. And they just, they were asking me all these questions and thousands of questions, and I'd been up for like a week and I was staying in the hospital and I couldn't understand anything anyone was ever saying to me. And they feel like being direct is being rude or something. So they don't just be direct, they be rude and direct. And I found it's really exhausting dealing with them always being rude as well as being direct. Like you can be direct and not be rude. I just don't know why they don't get that. It's in their culture, that's what it is. So they asked me these questions like, so why do you think Hayley is the way it is? Do you think Hayley's like this because of you? And I just looked at them and said, well, yeah, of course Hayley's like this because of me. And then they all just went quiet and silent, and I'm looking around and I'm going, oh, yeah, so what's going on next, And then I get child protection coming in and I'm like, yeah. And then we had to go through it was no big problem. Like it was all sorted out. It was kind of funny. But I was talking about genetics.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, I thought that was like, oh my God, of course, they've got my genes, obviously because of me. Yeah. Like it's not the dad, the dad's line, or it is probably both, but it was just so literal because of the way they asked the question. We were talking about health, we were talking about is there any other symptoms, and the family clusters and all the things. And then so I thought they were talking about whether it was from the matriarchal line, and then they call child protection, and I'm like, this is there's a danger with this, like if you lose your babel fish, if you lose your ability to do your that acting, conversational acting, and being able to protect yourself and understand all their vagueness, then and the instructions in the vagueness, it's like a Thomas Hardy novel, there was a curl on the thing and blah blah blah, please do this, blah 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 blah. It's difficult to extract what they want from you.
It's so stupid though. What do they think's the likely interpretation of what you said? Do they really think that was the most likely?
Well, what would you confess? I mean, like, if you were the problem, like, why would you dump yourself in? I don't even, like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
No,
like, you'd be like, nah, it's got nothing to do with me, It's like you would, I find that that's kind of, it's probably a reflection of them, really. But it is an interesting thing, but, progressing down the track, like, if we ever have a chat again, I think it would be great to find some people like who's talking about this stuff, and because our kids, they're not going into the world like the way we went into the world, where we just got to suck it up, and there's no what I call autistic first aid, which comes from Amanda Buckland's autistic psychologist. She came up with this term, autistic first aid, which is what you need to apply when people are dysregulated or in meltdown or whatever. And I think it looks at, calming the central nervous system. It's a really good conversation, removing away from behaviorism.
Yes.
But understanding that doesn't happen when you're with the police. And if our kids are so sensitive, they haven't had that tough up, harsh street experience that we've had, how are they going to know how to manage those situations if they're dysregulated? And the police have, in Victoria, not New South Wales, they've got the Vulnerable Persons Protocol, which is a really great document to read. Talks about dyslexia and how they can, and learning difficulties, people who are hard of hearing and the deaf community, how they might interpret things incorrectly. But in Victoria, if you're heightened or monotone or you lose the cadence in your voice, you're considered an agitator. And agitators are likely the perpetrator. So they arrest you on that assumption.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it.
I don't want them hunting me down. Looking out for Tismo and there's Grandma Tismo in the street with her pink brain hat.
That's exactly.
There she is.
I'm looking for a 50-something lady, and she's wearing the brain outside of her head.
It's brain leak. It's brain leak.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh,
abstract. That's very abstract. That's fine. We're like that all the time, I love that. It's good to be.
I'm going to do a little skit for that. By the way, I've just good. That's going to be a good one. I'm going to put in the police sirens and all that sort of stuff, and
That's a really good idea. The other one to do is smoke alarms. When a smoke alarm goes off in our house, we're all on the floor in fetal position, writhing in circles with our hands on our ears, screaming until it stops, which is because. So we're just going to die if our house just catches fire because the smoke alarms are going to kill us. You know? Don't burn the toast because it just you don't have a pulse, you know.
Make it a cat purring instead if you don't have a cat.
Well,
you
I
start
don't
hearing
know
a cat purring.
I know. I think they have visual ones, you know, lights flashing, and maybe ones that can connect to your phone.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Or I might be living in the future and they don't have that yet, but they should have like ones that connect to the phone haptically or to the Apple Watch, because that vibration is often something a lot of neurodivergents, you know, can be more receptive to instead of sound or visual. Haptics. Haptics are great. I love haptics.
Do you think I should start the event? I was thinking of starting the event by someone's going to announce me loudly, and I was going to tell them off for doing that, and to announce me much quieter, because this is not the right audience to be shouting to.
I hear that. That's good. Absolutely. Might shock people. But you're going to, I think that kind of slapstick, if you get that slapstick going when you're in the mood, you know, and if it doesn't naturally unfold, don't worry about it. You just go with the flow with it. Like it's kind of.
Well, mate, no, we're just laughing at this, thinking that it's going to be like this, the sound of my footsteps walking on stage to complete silence.
Oh, I like it.
Crickets.
That's like pregnant palsy. That's really, I love how you do sound effects.
Yeah, I have so much fun.
I love your sound effects. You do. I love that. Huh?
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah, I'd love to learn how to do that one day. You should do a course. I'd love to learn how to do that stuff, you know.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a really great skill. You know, I used to work in the film industry, so I'm pretty, but I just had a tech jump. There's been a tech jump with a few things, and you know what I mean? Like you've got to, and I had a skill regression from the cognitive decline. So I feel like it's there, but it's just out of reach a bit from all the neural pruning. I don't know about you, but I've got freaking shears, mate. It's neural pruning. Like spring and autumn or something, you know, you can cut things back.
Oh, constant.
Right? Mine is shears.
Just remember, I'm flitting. I flit, so I have no memory of so many things that happen all the time. I'll say to someone, you should go and see that movie. Mate, we saw it together. Or I'll learn how to bake bread for a while, and then once I stop baking the bread, it's gone. It's gone. You know, I have a lot of it.
Yeah, I find that frustrating. That's kind of signs of burnout. That's kind of sign of, isn't it?
I don't know, but it's constant.
Yeah, it's burnout.
It's constant.
It's working memory. If working memory was a personality, it would be an RSAT. Sorry if I can say that. My working memory is an RSAT. Like, you know, like it just does not do what it needs to do.
No. Yeah.
And, you know, that shift of focus is difficult, and cross-referencing and accessing files and, you know, even like if you're on an ADHD meds or not, you know, which I do, I love my meds. Like, oh, my God, I'm a big fan of meds, you know. Yep. And I get real stressed when people talk about that conversation. Oh, I just want my children to do it naturally.
Bullshit.
And I'm like, I get very upset. Like, I respect it. I hear it. It's medication. It's insane. But at the same time,
if you are low in iron when they do a blood test,
it's true.
Are you going to do it naturally? Just let it go natural, or are you going to get iron? Put some iron into your body.
Or cholesterol.
Seriously.
You know,
idiotic.
Sure. I think it is. It is. And as is the conversation of, I don't want to label my child by not diagnosing them. I was part of the Disability Royal Commission and had all these submissions. I did a submission of art on meltdowns and what meltdowns look like for me, like what we call in our community expression sessions, you know, out with ones in inappropriate places. And we were going to TikTok them because people are, when you say they don't understand meltdowns, you know, like it. And there's lots of different types. And it sounds, I think, like people smashing furniture or something, and they instead of what it really is. But I know now I can't remember why I was going to say that.
No, that's sort of though. Yeah, I have to.
Yeah, but it's gone. It's flipped.
Just went nah. Oh, look,
I hear it.
It's an hour 20 for goodness sake. So
that's
probably a good idea.
I forgot to mention that I can't do timekeeping. I'm just going to try and keep talking until you do the conversational wind-up thing.
Yeah, no,
because I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, because I gives me editing
stuff.
Options. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So it's always good to do that, and it's been fantastic.
Well, I hope it was an okay conversation. It was really good to have a chat with you.
And I have absolutely no idea how to write a bio for you.
I don't.
What am I going to say? How am I going to introduce you?
Oh, well, people just generally know me as. My name's Tismo. A lot of people know me as Tismo because I do a lot of advocacy work, and I also try to get systems changed. Like I've actually been successful at changing some systems in government that are very discriminatory. Just using the complaint mechanism can take time. Take time, but and I help a lot of people with NDIS and stuff because I read the legislation. I'm one of those autistic people, so I'd never use my real name online anymore.
Okay, yeah,
because people can get very upset.
That's right.
Thank you so much. It's been so good to meet you and get to know you, and it's an absolute honour to have a chat, and I hope that you enjoyed yourself. And
absolutely, I'd love to have you come back on. I really would. I would like to get a few more sort of regular. I've done that with a couple of people, and it's just been great because then you can switch and talk about something else and
go deep.
All the conversations that are going to happen after the event when I come out, all I'm going to hear when people are talking to me is just
I won't bombard you.
Well, no,